On September 23, 2025, a fleet of Russian-made MiG-29 fighter jets quietly touched down at an airbase in Shiraz, Iran, under the cover of early morning haze. The arrival was not announced in advance, and the jets' engines echoed across the tarmac as ground crews moved swiftly to secure the new arrivals. This moment marked a significant turning point in the military relationship between Tehran and Moscow, one that had been building for years but now took on a new urgency. The handover of these advanced aircraft was more than just a transfer of hardware. It was a public display of deepening trust and strategic alignment between the two nations. For both sides, this cooperation is about more than military might. It's about sending a message to the world. Iranian officials were quick to confirm the delivery, even as Moscow remained silent, perhaps to avoid further inflaming tensions with the West. The move signals a partnership forged in shared opposition to Western influence and a mutual desire to reshape the balance of power in the region. For Iran, the MiG-29s represent a vital first step in overhauling an air force that has struggled for decades under the weight of international sanctions and the damage of recent conflicts. Many of Iran's existing jets are relics from the 1970s and 80s, and the arrival of these modern fighters brings a much-needed boost to both capability and morale. The decision to base the MiGs in Shiraz is no accident. The city's central location allows for rapid deployment across Iran's borders, while also serving as a deterrent to regional adversaries. It's a calculated move, signaling both flexibility and strength. Iranian leaders have described the MiG-29s as a temporary solution, acknowledging that while these jets fill an immediate gap, the country's long-term goal is to acquire even more advanced aircraft and air defense systems. The MiGs are a bridge to the future, not the final destination. The arrival of these jets is a direct response to vulnerabilities exposed in recent clashes with Israel, and a clear statement to the region: Iran is not standing alone. By working closely with powerful allies like Russia, Tehran is determined to rebuild and modernize its military strength, signaling a new era in the region's shifting power dynamics. Iran's air force is a relic, relying on pre-1979 American jets and outdated Soviet-era aircraft, kept flying through ingenuity and desperation. Decades of sanctions have left Iran dangerously outmatched by neighbors flying state-of-the-art Western fighters. Israel's F-35 Adir stealth jets highlight the chasm between Iran and its adversaries, leaving Iranian airspace exposed. To compensate, Iran has built a formidable missile arsenal and developed indigenous drones and air defense systems. But missiles and homegrown tech can't replace the need for a modern air force to secure the skies. The MiG-29s are a first step, an immediate if limited upgrade while Iran seeks more advanced fighters. This move signals a shift. Iran knows it must close the technological gap to defend its sovereignty and project power. Iran's urgency to modernize its military was driven home by the shocking events of Operation Rising Lion, a brief but devastating Israeli campaign that unfolded in early 2025, catching much of the world, and Iran's own military, off guard. In a matter of days, Israeli jets, most believed to be the stealthy F-35s, penetrated deep into Iranian airspace, striking with precision and overwhelming force. They targeted Iran's most prized aircraft, hangars and command centers, leaving a trail of destruction that exposed the glaring vulnerabilities in Iran's air defenses. Perhaps the most significant blow was the destruction of the Russian-supplied S-300 missile defense system. Once considered the crown jewel of Iran's defensive arsenal, its loss was not just a material setback, but a strategic disaster that sent shockwaves through Iran's military leadership. The operation laid bare the reality that Iran's patchwork of aging fighter jets and outdated air defense systems was no match for a modern, coordinated aerial assault. The contrast between Iran's older equipment and the advanced technology used by its adversaries was stark and undeniable. These losses were not only material but deeply psychological. The destruction of key assets and the inability to defend critical airspace shattered confidence within Iran's military ranks and among the public, raising urgent questions about the nation's ability to protect its own skies in the future. In the aftermath, Tehran was forced to accelerate negotiations with Russia and China, seeking advanced military technology and new defense agreements. The urgency to rebuild and modernize became a top priority, as Iranian leaders recognized the need to close the technological gap exposed by the conflict. The arrival of MiG-29s, and promises of even more advanced aircraft to come, stand as a direct response to the hard lessons learned during those 12 harrowing days. For Iran, Operation Rising Lion was a wake-up call that continues to shape its military ambitions and strategic partnerships. The MiG-29s are just the beginning. Iran's real ambitions center on acquiring Russia's Su-35 fighters and S-400 air defense systems, plus China's HQ-9 missiles. The Su-35, a 4.5-generation jet, would transform Iran's air force, challenging the region's best. Delays in delivery due to Russia's own military needs haven't stopped Tehran from pushing forward. The S-400 and HQ-9 systems promise a layered, integrated air defense network, protecting critical sites and complicating enemy attack plans. By sourcing from both Russia and China, Iran hedges against vulnerabilities and deepens strategic ties with both powers. This multi-supplier approach makes Iran's defenses more resilient and its alliances more robust. The goal: a modern, multi-layered arsenal that deters attack and shifts the regional balance. The destruction of Iran's S-300 batteries in Operation Rising Lion left a gaping hole in its air defenses. The urgent acquisition of S-400 and HQ-9 systems is a direct response, aiming to create a robust, overlapping shield across the country. Integrating Russian and Chinese systems complicates enemy planning. What works against one may fail against the other. This diversification ensures that no single failure can cripple Iran's entire defense network. New fighters like the MiG-29s and anticipated Su-35s will replace lost aircraft and provide a credible deterrent. The strategy combines advanced air defenses with modern fighters for a synergistic, resilient posture. Iran is rebuilding from defeat, determined to prevent a repeat of past vulnerabilities. The influx of Russian and Chinese hardware is set to disrupt the Middle East's balance of power. Israel's long-held air superiority is now challenged by Iran's new acquisitions, forcing a rethink of military strategy. The Su-35's capabilities and the S-400's reach mean Israeli pilots can no longer assume impunity over Iranian skies. Airstrikes that were once low-risk now require complex planning and carry greater danger. Gulf states like Saudi Arabia and the UAE must also adjust to a more capable, assertive Iran. Iran's growing confidence could lead to a bolder foreign policy, raising tensions across the region. The arms transfers are transforming Iran from an asymmetric actor to a conventional military contender. The deepening military ties between Russia, China, and Iran signal a new strategic alignment, an emerging axis of upheaval. This alliance is not just about military drills or symbolic gestures, it represents a fundamental shift in the global balance of power. As these nations coordinate more closely, they are sending a clear message to the world. The era of uncontested Western dominance is being challenged on multiple fronts. United by a desire to challenge Western dominance, these nations are forging a bloc that resists sanctions and projects power. Their cooperation extends beyond the battlefield, encompassing economic, technological, and diplomatic spheres. By working together, they are able to withstand external pressure and present a united front against what they see as Western interference in their affairs. For Russia, arms sales to Iran bring revenue and create headaches for the US and its allies. These deals also deepen Moscow's influence in the Middle East, allowing Russia to expand its strategic reach and complicate Western efforts to isolate Iran. Each shipment of advanced weaponry is a reminder that Russia remains a key player in shaping regional dynamics. China, Iran's main oil customer, quietly supplies advanced systems while expanding its influence in the Persian Gulf. Through energy deals and technology transfers, Beijing is securing vital resources and building long-term partnerships. Its growing presence in the region signals a shift in the global energy landscape and a challenge to traditional Western interests. These arms deals are about more than regional security, they're about building an alternative global order. By strengthening their ties, Russia, China, and Iran are creating new institutions and frameworks that bypass Western-led systems. Their vision is one where power is shared among multiple centers, not dictated by a single superpower. The flow of Russian jets and Chinese missiles is a message. Sanctions won't stop these countries from pursuing their interests. Instead, they are adapting, innovating, and finding new ways to collaborate. Their military cooperation is both a deterrent and a statement of intent, signaling that they will not be easily contained. Together, they're laying the groundwork for a multipolar world, challenging the rules set by Washington and Brussels. As this axis of upheaval grows stronger, it is reshaping alliances, redrawing spheres of influence, and forcing the world to adapt to a new, more complex geopolitical reality. For Tehran, new military hardware is more than defense, it's a diplomatic trump card. As the West debates renewed sanctions, Iran showcases its alliances and growing arsenal to shift the negotiating balance. Parliamentary officials openly state, once these systems are in place, our enemies will understand the language of power. Iran's dual-track strategy, making nuclear concessions while strengthening its military, divides Western powers and raises the cost of confrontation. The new weapons serve as insurance, giving Iran leverage at the negotiating table. Iran's goals secure respect, security, and influence in a new regional order. As advanced systems come online, expect a more confident, assertive Iran, one that uses its military strength to shape diplomacy and deter threats.